Okay, I'm standing here at Paris Amp Station on the server Themisto. I've been reading on the forums where a lot of people are griping about the game and the fact that they don't like either where it's going or a few things that the devs have done. And the devs have tried to remind us over and over again to try to make suggestions instead of just griping about something. So I have issues with base design in this game, so I figured I would try to make a video and show a few things or a few areas I have a problem with, along with what I would suggest in order to fix it. So this video is going to be about problems and suggestions for base design, specifically where it comes to Paris. Though I think a lot of my suggestions can be applied to all of the bases in PlanetSide 2. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, I'm standing inside the vehicle bay of Paris Amp Station, where this generator is located. Sorry, I wish we had specific terms for each kind of generator, but I know we've got like a million shield generators anymore, so this one anyway. So I'm standing on top of this bridge, and this is one of the problems I have with this base design. Anybody can roll armor in here once the shields are offline. And these vehicles can then shoot, or enemy infantry can then shoot people on this bridge. It leaves little room for defenders to try to defend this generator from attackers. My suggestion would be to enclose this bridge and make it into a hallway instead. Put walls up. That way, defenders can then set up turrets or get into position to try to defend this generator from attacking enemies coming from this direction. So that'd be my first suggestion. Please enclose this area so we can have some better fights. Okay, my next suggestion is for this room. A couple of issues I have with it. It's too open, and it's not easily defended or easily attacked because of its overall openness, I guess. My suggestion would be, with these stairwells, can we enclose them? Make them more like, I guess the PlanetSide 1 versions, for lack of a better phrase. Put walls up and make these into more stairwell tunnels coming down into this area, and then we can have two different stairwells enclosed. This would focus the attackers down these two stairwells, but will also help to cover them. They don't have to worry about being shot from certain directions here from enemies camping around corners or hiding. But it also gives the defenders an area to focus on when it comes to defense, because they would be choke points. The other issue that I just don't know why you guys kind of designed the base like this, these terminals would be excellent for cover, except for the fact that they're kind of facing the wrong way. I mean, there's very little surface area here. I think these terminals, if they were faced in the other direction, would just give better cover for both attackers and defenders. If I'm defending, I want to sit behind something and then watch the stairs. If I'm attacking, once I push the enemy back, I want to be able to have something I can hide behind, you know, for cover to shoot the enemy, so of course they won't hit me. Alright, so the two suggestions I would be is, can we turn these the other direction to give some better cover, and can we please enclose the two staircases? That way we can both focus the attackers and the defenders when coming after the spawn control unit, which is actually okay. The spawn control unit room. I kind of like where this is going as far as this being a nice round room. You can put people against the wall and try to watch these entrances. But what I don't like is how open it is. Why even bother having these walls, and how open these two sections are? I mean, honestly, what is this? Like, why do we have this here? I don't think it's needed, necessary. It doesn't even look cool. What if we removed this thing and we brought these walls closer together into a doorway into this room? That way there is limited space here to where the defenders can focus on the doorway, and attackers can maybe send max units through this doorway with engineers hiding on either side trying to repair them as you clear out the enemies. Again, it gives some cover and it focuses both the attacking and the defensive force. And do it on both sides, you know, take this thing out. And then you could make these areas on either side of this room more like another hallway leading toward the back door area. Oh yes, the back door area. I love this little hallway here. I think we need more of them and extended. But let's enclose this stairwell too. And then at the bottom here, if we've got walls coming up on either side here, we could put doorways leading in this direction and that direction out of the stairwell. What this does is it gives the attackers some cover from the sides, and it focuses the attack down the stairs and focuses them through this doorway. Now these things here, I kind of like these because it gives some cover. Attackers, once they push back the defenders, can sit behind here and try to force the enemy back. Or defenders, before the enemy breaks through, can take position here to watch the doorway. So again, this is just more easily defended and it focuses the attack. Alright, one of my biggest pet peeves with base design is what we're going to see here. We have 3 doorways into a, I guess you could call it a medium-sized generator room. But not only do we have the 3 doorways, we also have 2 windows. Now, what is the point of that? You have a generator room that cannot be defended, and, I mean, why even have a building here? Instead, let's have a gazebo. We could let some light in here and just have kind of a tent structure. Maybe even bombs from liberators could pass through. But then again, if you actually want a good fight, I would say the solution would be to get rid of both windows and 2 of the doorways. Let's just leave 1 doorway. Maybe, let's pick this one. I really don't care which one it is, but let's just pick this one to be the doorway. Another thing I don't understand about this room specifically is I like the idea of these shield walls, though some of them still have their issues, but I know you guys will take care of it. You're doing a great job with stuff like that. Alright, but we have these shields, but why? Why do we have these shields? I mean, I can come here through this door and shoot the generator around the shield. I can come through this door. I mean, we're talking it's wide open. I can hit this with a tank. I can even maybe even hover with a liberator and bomb the thing through this doorway. And then through this window here, I can shoot it over here. So what is the thinking and the design behind these shield walls? I just don't get it. Instead, let's take out the 2 doors and the 2 windows over there. Let's move this shield into that position to defend the generator against this doorway. And then you could take or leave the other shield walls, but I would appreciate, you know, some defense in here, some cover where defenders or attackers who have just downed a generator can guard it against the other team. That way we have better fights over these generators. It's not over in 2 seconds. Again, focusing the fight, allowing for bigger and better battles. Okay, if the other generator room was a gazebo, this thing is that barn shed in your backyard where you keep your lawnmower. Again, not a very defensible position. You've got 2 doorways into a very small room, and then you've got anything that might be used as cover backed up against the walls. So nobody really has any kind of decent cover in this room, and it's not really big enough to have any kind of a defense or attack against this building. At the very least, get rid of one of these doors. Only have 1 door, and then, I mean, I would suggest putting in a couple more boxes into the middle of the floor or something to where the defenders can actually have a method of defense. Alright, when it comes to base design,
User joined your channel.
this is the biggest thing that does not make sense to me in the slightest. The spawn room location. Let me explain this one. So, the exits to the spawn room are in the very back, opposite of where the main facility is. Which means when you spawn here, you're actually very far away from the main base. And these doorways are very easily camped by the enemy. I don't understand why you would do this. But, let me just say, where that spawn tube is, remember that location for a second. And then as we come up here, first of all, these things are also nonsensical. What am I going to do from these balconies? Why are they even here? This doesn't make any sense at all. Okay, but anyway. So we want to remember where that spawn tube is and where this wall is and this control unit. Because here is my suggestion for this. Let's come over here. Alright, this is where the spawn tube and the control center is. Either one of these would be a great place to put a walkway leading to the main facility. See that balcony up there? That is the air terminal. And we could put a walkway up there and make a little bridge or an enclosed walkway, either one, to that bridge up there. Or a ground walkway from here into the main facility. Now I'll go ahead and fast forward or cut to video inside the base so I could show you where this leads and just inside Paris. I mean, just camp the spawn rooms with tanks. It doesn't make any sense. So I think that suggestion would really help the flow of battle. Again, these next suggestions are about the walls and the towers, and I think definitely these can be applied to all bases with walls, which, by the way, I kind of feel all bases should have walls. After all, these are supposed to be military installations that are supposed to be built for defense. So let's dive right into this issue. My first problem is how open everything is with the walls. I mean, this wall here, continue it and just continue it around in a cylindrical form with a doorway in here that allows you to either pick the elevators or walk through doorway openings into the second deck. Again, we just want to add cover for infantry and focus attacks and allow for defenders to defend, because this just gives too much area for either friendlies or enemies to sit, and there's just too many ways of friendlies or enemies to attack from that there's really no way to focus your defense or focus your attack onto the walls. Another issue I have is, okay, so it looks like you guys started to build a ceiling and then perhaps ran out of construction material, because it seems like these ceilings are half completed. I mean, I would prefer if you guys just enclose this whole thing, make it a big long hallway between each tower, protecting it from all types of air and ground vehicle attacks. The reason for this is I think it'd be a good idea to perhaps put a generator into one of these areas here while enclosing it. This would be a reason for enemies and friendlies alike to use this area of the wall. Otherwise, people don't really use this. They've got those nifty little jump pads at the top of these towers, which, by the way, I hate these. They might look cool, they might be fun for the first 30 seconds, but it's really nonsensical to have both friendlies and enemies jumping around like little jumping beans all over the base. by having everybody being able to travel so quickly from one end to the base or the other, it really diffuses numbers. You know, if you've got numbers of defenders, numbers of attackers, they end up being diffused all over the base instead of focused in one area or another, or even just a couple of areas. And this makes for very quick, boring, and small battles to happen, which is why bases tend to flip in like 10 or 15 minutes, and we've got no big or epic fights going on, no challenges from either attackers or defenders.
Is back online.
Oh yes, that's also annoying, by the way, but I know you guys are going to fix that. Instead, if you take out these jump pad things, then people would have to walk from tower to tower, making them more invested in whatever they're trying to do, whether it be trying to attack air or trying to be in the AV turrets, because right now all people do is they man a turret, which I know aren't here, but they man turrets until they blow up, then they jump to the next tower and man another turret until it blows up. Make them spend time running between tower to tower. This would require more people being present to defend a base. And just with everything else that I've talked about, it would require more people attacking the base as well. But then getting rid of these jump pads would mean more people using these walkways, and if you enclose them and protect them from vehicle or air attack, then you've got specific places that infantry can go without being afraid of being bombed by air or vehicles. Another thing I'd like to see happen with the walls is make some sort of a bridge or walkway into the main facility from the walls. This can be either opened or closed. I'm kind of torn on this, but if it was a closed walkway, it would allow infantry to move to any part of the base and still be protected. I like that idea. I mean, I think vehicles could be used to try to siege the base and keep infantry inside, but it really opens the game up to some really nice and interesting and large and epic infantry battles that we are missing now. Now it's all a vehicle Zerg fest, and this is how we can end up making the game fun for infantry. Alright, so I have talked about everything, I think. It gave solutions to all of my issues that I have with this base. So I hope that the devs really listen to what I have to say, and I hope other planetside players will put in their 2 cents, because we really need to figure out why we're not having big battles and why the game just seems more like a grind for certs and Araxium than it is actually having fun. I think if we can fix the base design issue, that is a very big step in the right direction. But of course, we also need to make sure that battles are happening at bases rather than all the other territories. So I'll end with this. Looking at the map and looking at each of these bases, I don't like how many little bitty territories there are. Let's say instead of having each little bitty territory with a little bit of resources each, if instead each resource was allocated to a base, and the base took up a larger area, then the bases would be hugely important. I mean, if you lost a Latum and completely lost your orange resource, you wouldn't be able to pull all of those mag riders, you wouldn't be able to pull all of the heavy equipment. All of a sudden, a Latum becomes very important to attack or defend, because you would love to be able to deprive your enemy of tanks, wouldn't you? Or maybe you would like to deprive them of the ability to pull all of those fighter planes. You know, those things are like little gnats. Or perhaps you want to deprive them of galaxies. You take this one. And so by doing that, you all of a sudden make the bases incredibly important, and all these little outposts can be used as forward spawns or vehicle spawns in order to attack the enemy. But instead, wouldn't it be nice if the resources were important? If the Araxium was important, if the bases were all important? And you can do that just by having each base, of course, have the Araxium that they give, but have it give Araxium for attacking or defending only, not like the other resources.
Is back online.
But also have them control one of the other resources, where you still get them every 5 minutes, but if you lose the base, you completely lose that resource. Becomes hugely important, doesn't it? So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I think that would really help to make the game interesting and promote larger battles and epic battles. Alright, Money Penny out.